Hello and welcome to a new episode of our podcast,
Culture Cuddles, where we talk about experiences of people living and loving abroad. My name is Uyen.
And I'm the German husband-to-be.
And we are the hosts of this podcast.
Yay!
I like that we have like a routine now to introduce the podcast and we just need to read it for like the first 10 seconds of the episode.
No, that's good.
That's cool.
It's not so awkward anymore than it used to be.
Yeah, normally it took us like an hour just to start the podcast because we don't know how to just make the intro. But now at least we have something that we can memorize. Okay, honey, what is the topic for today's episode?
Today's topic is identity struggles of people living abroad.
Ooh.
And it got a little bit extended to also kids of people who are living abroad and growing up abroad.
I really like this topic because I am experiencing it right at the moment. I live in Germany for 4 years, going up to 5 years now. And for the first 2 years, everything was fine. But recently, I started to kind of struggle with not knowing where is home and don't really know where I belong to. So I'm really looking forward to the comments and the messages that you guys send to us for this topic. And we can talk about that together.
Obviously, I don't have so much experience about that topic, but that won't stop me from adding my mustard, as we would say in German. I think in English, it's like adding my 2 cents or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry. Actually, Uyen holds her spirit animal today.
I'm holding a Snorlax from Pokemon. He likes to snap. And I like to nap too.
I think you just said he likes to snap.
I also like to snap too. So before we get into this podcast, I just want to say that I know that I'm a very privileged person because I have the opportunities to move abroad and experience the life over here. Many people don't have that luxury. So I don't want to make this podcast to whine or like to complain about it. It's just something that is happening to me recently, a little bit of a struggle in identity, and I want to share it with you guys. But definitely, this is not a complaint. This is just some girl thoughts, I would say. Okay, now
I mean, you're allowed to have your feelings. So.
Okay, thank you. So now let's start.
Karen wrote, I was born and raised in the UK, moved to Hong Kong 14 years ago and still think of UK as my home. But when I return, there are some things that will become alien or nostalgic. The beauty is that you're lucky enough to experience both.
Yeah, I agree. Because of course, I still think of Vietnam as my home country because I was born and raised there for 20 years. But recently, I noticed that when I go back to Vietnam, I experience cultural shock as if I'm like a German or something. And I was embarrassed by it. I didn't dare to tell my family because sometimes people make fun of me too. Like when I have struggle crossing the street because now I'm scared of traffic. I have never been scared of traffic before in Vietnam, but now I'm scared. Or like sometimes I would question my family, is this safe to eat? Are you sure this ice is not tap water? And if I drink it, would I have stomachache? Or when they talk too loud, I would tell them, please don't scream, do not talk so loud and be quiet and things like that. And I just found sometimes I just feel myself being like a foreigner in my home country. And it's really sad.
And it actually happens. She's not just scared of it. She also actually gets stomachache when she eats things that her stomach is not really used to anymore.
That was actually the saddest part. You know, food is such something very special to me. German boyfriend, no. 80% of my identity, 80% of my identity is food. 20% is whatever left. Most of my happiness come from eating food. So when I'm in Germany, I'm just craving for Vietnamese food all day long. So that's why when I went back to Vietnam, I was super excited to eat the food. And to my surprise, I had stomachache. Apparently, my body was just not getting used to the biotic or the germ that is there anymore. There's time I have stomachache for days and I cannot eat anything but porridge.
And I had a phone call from a crying lady saying like, I cannot eat the food.
Yeah.
It's the second day that I'm just eating congee.
And it broke my heart because I always see myself as someone with like very strong stomach. I ate so many crazy stuff in Vietnam since I was super young, but now I just cannot do it anymore. And sometimes I question myself, what is going on? Why my body changed in this kind of way? And am I even like a strong Vietnamese with a good belly anymore?
You have a very good belly.
Yeah. The food was really sad. And it's not just the food. Also my country changed a lot during the time I left, right? And then when I went back, there's a lot of things I didn't know anymore. Like now, for example, everybody is paying via a QR code nowadays on a smartphone. Nobody has cash or card anymore. I had no clue how to do that.
I mean, COVID was changing every place way faster than it would have changed usually.
Yeah.
And like even I was shocked when I came back after the COVID time.
Yeah. And also, do you guys in Germany, do you notice there is like a change in language in the last 5 years in Germany? Do you guys still speak the same language or do you guys have new slang?
There's always new slang, especially like with TikTok and stuff.
Okay.
Because people use like words coming from English way more often. Sometimes I don't understand people speaking German.
Okay.
Because they use like every third word is an English word.
Okay. So it's like the same in every country, I guess, because in Vietnam now, we have so many different words and different slang that I don't understand. I just left the country only for 5 years. And when I go back, when I talk to my niece, I don't understand like 30% of what she's saying. She's just saying things with slang and with sentences that I had no clue about. And I think this is a phenomenon especially happening with immigrants who leave the country for longer, like 20 years, and then have kids, and the kid only learn the language from the immigrant parents. And some of them just know the outdated version of the language. So when they talk to like a person back home, they all talk the native language, but it sounds super outdated and they couldn't understand it because their language knowledge kind of frozen in time. And I really don't think it's going to happen to me because I still talk to my family often. I still talk to my teenager niece often to update my language. But I don't know, it's just a bit sad. Like, I'm a native speaker. I don't like the feeling of not understanding something in my native language, especially when I cannot speak German fluently already. And English is also not my native speaker. If I cannot speak Vietnamese 100% fluently, who am I? Right? Sorry, getting a little bit heated here.
That's fine.
Yeah, should we move on?
This is a safe space for you to vent.
Yeah.
The next comment is from Elle. She says, I had a multiple identity crisis before and was feeling very down at one point. I was born in Indonesia, Australian citizen, and living in Singapore, so I was confused who I was. Then I realized that I was connected more to the Indonesian way of living, so I brought in Indonesian culture into my life, but I am also embracing Singapore way of living too. I am currently quite versatile about enjoying both of the cultures.
Do you notice that, like at least for me, when people move to another country and out of their cultural, they started to be doing more cultural practice in the new country. Like when I was in Vietnam, I mean, it's not like I don't care about our culture, but I am not a very traditional person. My parents are mostly the one who in charge of doing the traditional stuff for the family, like decorating the house for the new year, cooking the traditional food. But somehow when I moved to Germany, I started to feel like, oh, okay, since I'm away from home, I want to do something special during those events to remind me of home. So we do a lot of stuff, Vietnamese stuff over here, like for the new year. If I cannot go home, German boyfriend would help me to decorate the whole house in the Vietnamese way. He's doing a very good job of it.
I really like it to always craft little things about the new zodiac and stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah. And then also during the full moon, for example, I would invite my friends over and we would make the moon cake. And oh yeah, and also now I like to wear the traditional clothes the outside. When I was in Vietnam, I don't remember owning even one. But now in Germany, somehow I found myself having 5 pairs of outside.
And I think if you're in an open relationship, it's also like
Open relationship?
No,
Like
that is not the right term. I'm sorry. Let's do that again. I mean, you're open-minded about each other's culture and customs and things. I don't know. Like, you want to show your partner, you're interested in what your partner, because like for me, I really like the Tet custom and try to participate. Even when Uyen is not here, I decorate the house. Because I don't know, I drew really custom to that in the 2 years of COVID where she couldn't go to Vietnam.
That is a new year, by the way. When you say something Vietnamese, you have to explain that for them.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And yeah, so I really like that. But I also feel like because we're doing that, I also want to share like our customs more with her. Like when there's St. Martin, like there is a holiday where kids are walking with the lanterns through the street. I want to explain it to her and I even want to do it. So yeah, it's nice. It also brings you closer to your own culture. Elle also draws the conclusion here that she thinks that the key is to be open, embrace whatever we are having at the present moment, while not forgetting our roots and have fun at the same time. And I think also, like, I agree with her.
Yeah.
There's that old saying, like, when you're in Rome, do it as the Romans.
Honey, have you ever questioned yourself, like, who am I? And then, am I German? Have you ever think about that?
The thing is, like, I think before I started traveling or before I started to be in a relationship with you, I would have said that there is nothing much like a German culture. Like, we are we. I didn't think that there's much special about our way of living or about what we are doing and stuff. And I think this is part of why your reels and your videos are so successful, because we are a little bit blind to see what is special about us and what makes us special. We just think like, yeah, we are we. Other people have culture. Other people are doing a lot of things that we don't understand in the first hand.
I understand what you mean, because when I was in Vietnam, I never once questioned myself about my, like, am I Vietnamese enough or things like that. It never crossed my mind. But since I'm moving abroad and not being close to many of my people anymore, when I am away, being surrounded by people from multi-nationalities, being a Vietnamese became something special to me. And I don't know, do I make myself clear? Does that even make sense?
I think it makes sense.
Right? It's so funny because I just find the change very kind of sudden. Like suddenly, because you move abroad, you really need something to like ground you down, to remind you of who you are. And then suddenly you chose nationality as a big part of who you are somehow.
Yeah. But I mean, then you also start to get, or some people start to get selective and see like, okay, that part of the culture at home I actually don't like so much.
Yeah.
And there are other people who say like, no, this is part of the culture. And even though they maybe don't like it so much, they still embrace it.
That is very true, because since I moved here, I have like a good look of my culture back home, because before, when I live in Vietnam, I don't have anything to compare. And when I moved to Germany, I started to see like there's so many differences in the way people live, the way people behave. And there are some part of Vietnamese culture I became really, really appreciate. And there are some part I was like, I don't like it that much. And I couldn't know that if I don't move abroad.
Just to give an example, like from an outside point of view, Uyen goes home and everyone is commenting on her appearance.
Yeah.
Something that is...
Yeah, like...
would not happen here or would not happen in the same amount.
You know, when I first moved to Germany, I still have the habit that whenever I see a female, I would compliment her outfit, or I would compliment how she looked. Like, I would be, oh my God, I love your shirt. Oh, where did you buy this pant? Oh, I love the length of your hair. Your hair looks so shiny. Your skin looks good. And honestly, in Vietnam, not only I complimenting people, I also give like negative reaction too, because I'm sorry, it was toxic of me. But all of the people around me do that, and we think this was normal. If we notice that someone has like a lot of pimple, we would ask them like, "Are you okay? Like I saw a lot of pimple on your skin. Have you washed it with this or that?" Or if they gain weight, we would point that out as an act of like, we care about you. So we would tell you that this is what's happening with your look. And from my point of view at that point, I was just thinking like, I want all of my female friends to look pretty and perfect. So I would point out which is not looking good for them to improve. And I didn't think much of it until I moved here, because over here they don't even talk about your appearance at all. And I noticed that I compliment their clothes and things, but they wouldn't say it back. And after a while, I kind of like tone it down and I don't do it anymore. I don't need to worry that the first thing someone told me, they would gonna either give me a compliment or say something about my body. So I kind of forget how important my look is, and I just don't care much about it anymore. But then whenever I go back to Vietnam, my family is always having something to say about how I look, either good thing or bad thing. And they were
not just the family, every auntie in the village is coming and telling her like, "Oh."
Especially now that I'm gaining a bit of weight, I'm a little bit chubbier compared to an average Vietnamese woman. Oh my God, everybody's pointing that out. Everybody's asking if I'm pregnant, and if I'm not pregnant, what the hell am I doing with my body at this age? And the thing is, when I was in Vietnam, people would say that. Sometimes I wouldn't like it, but I would not say anything. But now I'm feeling myself behaving like a German at some point, because sometimes when, especially in my family, when they commenting too much about my body, I snap at them. It was like, okay, stop talking about it. I don't care what you're thinking, and you are annoying me. Do not talk about my body anymore.
But I would say that is good.
Yeah, and they were all kind of shocked, like, oh my God, who are you? How are you snapping back like this? You change and things like that. But I think it's good, like they learn the boundary and things like that. But also confrontation is not a very like common thing in Vietnam. And every time I go back there, I feel like I'm a confrontational warrior. Like I'm not really afraid of like saying no anymore. And sometimes it shocked a lot of people around me when I said, no, I don't like it. Stop doing this with me. Everybody was like, this girl is like too German now.
To me as a German, that is a very weird thing, because we usually talk out what we think. I remember that like for here it is no problem when you have different opinions and then you talk about them. And in Vietnam, they would try to avoid that completely. And that is just something that really, really weirds me out. Like I remember on the first time when Uyen was here and our friends were here, and Uyen was almost not talking any German. And like then there was a topic coming up and we had different opinions, like my friends and me, and we were like discussing about things, sometimes also getting a little bit louder or talking with more passion and stuff. And then at the end they left and Uyen was like, "Whoa, what did you fight about? Are you still friends?" And we were like, oh, I was like, yeah, of course. I just don't like this and that.
Yeah, I kind of adapting it a bit too extreme, because I wasn't like that at all in Vietnam. And now I'm like, too much.
Hello, Chi Uyen. I don't know if that counts, but I'm a Vietnamese born in Germany. My parents raised me and my brother rather more Vietnamese with language and culture. Even though I am living abroad and I do connect with the German roots, my parents strongly believe that me and my brother should follow the Asian rules they taught us. We often get in conflicts, especially me because I am a girl. I do love my parents, but it always hurts when they say, "You're born in Germany, but you have Vietnamese blood, so you have to listen to us in your tradition."
Oh, that is really tough actually, because I feel like many of the Vietnamese value and tradition is having conflict with German value and tradition. For example, in Vietnam, I was taught that as a woman, I shouldn't be so vocal about my opinion. I should cook for my husband. It is okay for him to cheat, at least like 3 times.
For what?
Yeah, and that's what I was taught. Okay, it is okay because he's a man, he's allowed to cheat. And I should be there to sacrifice and raise children and have nothing for myself because that is a woman's job. And imagine being told something like that when you live in Germany your whole life and experience all of the cool thing women can do over here. And I just want to say what I was taught is not every Vietnamese woman was taught, okay? That is just my experience. And I'm just saying, like, imagine if I was taught like that at home and then I go out and then I see my German friends saying like, I don't listen to no man. I am a strong woman. I have my own life and everything. And then you would ask yourself, oh, what about me, right? I think it would be very, very tough. Like even for me and my parents right now, I have like a lot of different opinion with them when it comes to what does it mean to be a wife or a woman. I just chose to not talk with them about that. I just let them yap. And because they don't live with me and they don't have any power over me about how they control my life, how they can change my life. So I just let them talk because I think it's impossible to change their opinion at this point. And I love them and I still want to have a relationship with them. So I just let them talk and I don't fight with them. But imagine if they live here and they actually force me to do that. Oh, it would be very, very bad.
That's why we want to brainwash them one day. Yeah, like Uyen also had a lot of like struggles. I mean, she sometimes mentioned that she has like trauma, childhood trauma.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think she was not really having them when she was in Vietnam because she didn't see any alternatives. But then being here and seeing like how other parents are treating their children. Things always come with comparisons, like when you don't know that there's a better option or another option.
Yeah.
So the next one is, I hate that I can't put everything I love at one place. However, I love that I can make jokes in more than one language, eat many different kinds of delicious foods, and see many different landscapes. I get to experience not only different things, but also the same things in different ways. I guess being grateful I have so many different places to call home. Let me be at peace with not having it all at one place.
I do wish I could put everything I love in one place. If you can put everything you like about Vietnam and Germany in a place, what does that place look like, honey?
It would have like more exotic foods, more street food for cheaper price. It would have more temples.
Temples?
Temples.
You like temples?
I love temples.
Okay.
They always give me a tranquil feeling. I love it. I think it would also combine both nature. Like I really love like the German nature of like normal forests, but I would like to have some areas with rainforests too. I would not want to have the pollution. I would not want to have all of the noises and
the
traffic.
Weather? Would you want to have the Vietnamese weather here?
No.
I would take the German weather every day. Like, oh yeah, this is what
you're complaining so much about the German weather.
Yeah, because when I first moved here, I keep complaining about how cold it is and how dry it is, and my eyes hurt and my nose bleed. And I said I miss the humidity and the heat in Vietnam. But then now I kind of enjoy the weather over here so much. I like that in the summer we have the sun, but it's not that hot still. We have sunny day, but that people can actually go out and enjoy it. In Vietnam, when in the summer it's sunny, you cannot even go out and do anything. It's so freaking hot and humid there. Last summer I go back to Vietnam and I find myself grasping for air outside. Because of how hot and humid it is, and I find myself sweating, I find myself exhausted. I find myself not being able to get out of the room without the AC.
Okay, very sweet story. Just want to drop it. Like after our first trip together, I came home and I had a horrible tonsillitis, like infection here in my throat. And I was at the doctor and the doctor told me like, yeah, you need to stay at home for at least 1 week, probably 2 weeks. And I told that Uyen when we were calling and she was like, oh no, poor you. Should I send you money? And I was like, no, thank you. Why? And she was like, yeah, you cannot go to work. You won't earn any money. And I was like, this is so sweet of you, but like, I'm sick. I just stay at home. I still get my salary. Everything is good. And she was like, really? Because Uyen, when she was sick, she needed to take one of her holidays to stay one day at home.
Wow.
We're still staying paid.
That's a sweet story, but why is it related to the weather topic that I'm talking about?
I just said before that like there was a lot of stuff that you didn't
Okay.
realize.
I didn't get it because
that-
I was talking about the weather.
Yeah, of course. Like it has nothing to do with the weather, but like there was a lot of stuff that you just realized that you don't like it in your country after being here.
If I can make my dream world between two countries, I would bring my family to live in a society, something like this for sure. I would have all of the people that I know and love in Vietnam surrounded. Then I would have the food. Then I would take the safety and quietness of Germany into the world. I like the way how German people are communicating with each other. I think it's more my style. So I would love people to communicate like that, but with a bit of more passion, more emotion, a little bit more dramatic with like a Vietnamese style. That would be great. And also I would replace all of the food and fruits from Germany to like stuff in Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah.
No cherry anymore.
Oh, no. I took it back.
No Spargel.
I need cherry. I need, what is it? What is spargel called in English, honey?
Asparagus.
Asparagus. Those two things from Germany that we can keep.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Did you notice that like when you're describing your dream world, you said you put your family in there, but you don't know if that world that you're creating there is what they like. Maybe they like the noisiness of Vietnam.
You know what? Okay. I will put my family there here in the dream world, and then I'm gonna brainwash them so that they're going to like the world that I'm created. Yeah, that's the God complex that I have. Because honestly, the struggle is I'm 100% sure my parents do not like to live in Germany. So even when they're getting old, it's not my plan to even bring them to visit me, to live with me for a while. They're just gonna hate it here. My parents live a very Vietnamese life, very sociable life. Their house is always open and they have guests coming over from the morning until the late evening. They have so many friends and they do so many community things there. My mom went dancing in the evening and everything. She's not gonna like the life over here. It's just so private and it's hard to make friends for them. They're gonna be so lonely.
So Nile was writing, I feel like I'm always missing something. I'm never complete anymore and my heart is always torn between home and my new home and the homes we make with new friends and family. But what about the old friends and family?
Yeah. I complained with you a lot about that recently sometime. When I first moved here for the first year, the relationship between me and my friends at home is still super strong. We still call very often. We have video chat. We get updated. And I have a group of 5 more girls and each girl just have like their own crazy life and there's just so much happening and I wasn't there. And at one point, it's just impossible to get updated if you are not there to experiencing the same thing with them at the same place and be with them, right? So at one point, I feel like, oh, no matter how hard we try, the reality is that our friendship can never be the same anymore. We drift apart. I wasn't there for some of the wedding as well, many of their birthday party, many of their heartbreak. And no matter how much we can text, we can call, it just doesn't feel the same like you can be together. The other thing is that when I go back home, I see them. We are still having a good time. We spend a lot of time updating each other. But now I kind of accepting that our friendship can never be the same anymore.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think that is also part of growing up. I mean, you were living in a time where everything would be changing anyway.
Yeah.
You guys just all graduated university and then 3 of them actually founded families already. But also like in Vietnam, everyone is super busy with their jobs, way more than over here.
Yeah.
So they just have fewer time, I guess, anyway, in which they can do things and in which they can reach out to you. But I'm actually pretty happy because Uyen still keeps a very well contact to that group and is getting involved in what is going on in their life and everything.
The thing is, I feel like friendship, the older you get, the more work you have to put into it. It requires a lot of work. It's like a partnership, a relationship. You have to put work into it. Otherwise, it's not gonna like go anywhere. So you have to make time to get in touch with your friends, making sure that you guys are not like drifting apart somehow. And it requires a lot of time. Also, when I go back, every time I go back and see them, they look so different. Like, although you see them on the camera and every time and picture and everything, but like when you see them, they look so different. They look different. They also act different because they are growing up with me as well. They became like a grown up, became a mother and everything. When I talked to them, I had to sit there and I thought, damn, you are really different compared to the last time we met. I mean, good for you. But at the same time, I am sad that I wasn't there to see you become the experienced woman as you are now. I'm wondering if they feel the same with me. Do you think I changed a lot since I moved here, honey?
I mean, I think you changed, but whenever you're pointing out about changes, they're always like, nah, you were always like this and that.
Oh, okay.
And I sometimes have a feeling like Germany helped you grow those, I don't know, character traits that otherwise in Vietnam maybe would not been able to.
Okay, thank you.
So the last comment comes from Anna, and she says, with time you accept and realize both places are home. And while you don't belong to both, none of them will ever be fully home. It is lucky that we can call two places our home.
Yeah, it's true. One time I had this feeling when I was going back to Vietnam for New Year and I thought, yay, I'm going home. And then I was longing for it for so long, to be home, be with family and do all of the thing in Vietnam. And then when I was in Vietnam and 7 days before I leave Vietnam, I started longing for Germany. Like, I want to go home again. I miss Germany. I miss the weather. I miss you. I miss our apartment. I haven't, like we rented an apartment here and we make it home. This is the first apartment I ever kind of like see it as my own. And I don't have one in Vietnam, right? So I miss my apartment. I miss my kitchen. I miss all of my friends in Germany and all of my activities there. So I was longing for like going back home again. So isn't it nice? Like you go into two places and you have a home to long to. So yeah, it was a nice feeling. Thank you very much for your messages. I think it's a very nice message to end the podcast today.
So this is the end of our today's podcast. Thank you all very much for your messages. They were pretty personal. And yeah, thanks for opening up and sending them to us. And thanks for sharing.
And we're sorry we cannot read all of them publicly. But I just want to let you know that I read many of them privately. And I appreciate all of your messages. It touched my heart and it made me feel less lonely with my thoughts.
So thank you very much and see you at the next podcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Culture Cuddles is produced by Yilmaz Hummel for Uyen Ninh and her German husband-to-be. This episode was produced by Niklas Stündel and Freak Sitter. To submit your own story for the podcast, go to culturecuddles.com.